I had no idea that my life was about to veer violently in a completely different direction. Everything began with the discovery that my fiancé, a university lecturer, had checked into a hotel with one of her male students. They claimed it was merely a private academic discussion. Yet somehow, a video of the two of them was secretly recorded and leaked online. In a very short time, the clip spread at an uncontrollable speed. While I was still preparing a crisis management plan to protect her reputation, my fiancée, Dr. Ta Win Nhi, released a public statement on her own. My name is So Minh Viễn. Win Nhi and I had been together for exactly 3 years. Just the night before, I had proposed to her, and she had smiled and nodded in agreement. But the moment I read that post, I was completely frozen. The student who appeared in the video was named Mo Van Track. The photo Win Nhi attached showed their hands tightly intertwined. On their fingers were a pair of matching rings she had personally commissioned for me just 1 week earlier. That instant felt like a heavy blow straight to my chest. I could barely breathe. That evening, Win Nhi came home. She tried to explain. Minh Viễn, you know that both of us work in academia. We absolutely cannot afford any kind of scandal. Van Track is an outstanding student whom I personally supervise. He's not like you, a public figure who's already used to scrutiny and gossip. He can't withstand this kind of pressure. I had no choice but to protect him. Every time she mentioned Van Track's name, her eyes softened noticeably. She continued, once everything settles down, our wedding will still go ahead as planned. Silently, I picked up my phone and called my female co-star, an actress named Lam Sa. Last night's kissing scene felt real, didn't it? I said, why don't we just make it real? Before the flood of news overtook social media, I had just received the design draft of the custom wedding suit Win Nhi had sent me. At that time, I had thought the story about a female professor and her male student was nothing more than cheap tabloid gossip. I was about to scroll past it, until my fingers suddenly froze. In that slightly blurry, long-distance photo, I recognized the woman immediately. She was holding hands with a male student as they walked into a hotel. It was Win Nhi. The comment section beneath the post exploded instantly. My God, isn't that So Minh Viễn fiancé, the actor's fiancé? No way, she loves him so much. It has to be someone who just looks like her. This can't be real. But isn't So Minh Viễn fiancé also a professor? Within minutes, Win Nhi's professional social media account completely erupted. The story spread everywhere, and as the wave of outrage rose, people began tagging her en masse. Dr. Ta, everyone is talking about you. Please clarify, was the woman in the hotel you? I could almost picture Win Nhi's usual calm, composed expression as she read those messages. She had always placed immense importance on her image, a flawless scholar. Untainted, reputation above all else. I was still thinking about how to help her handle the crisis when Win Nhi suddenly posted a new statement. Thank you all for your concern. Yes, I am the woman involved in the hotel incident. To clarify, Mo Van Track is indeed my student, and also my fiancé. We have been together for 3 years. And last night, he accepted my marriage proposal. Therefore, everything that took place in the hotel belongs to our private life. Please stop spreading misinformation. Thank you. The post was accompanied by a photo, 2 hands gripping each other tightly. Both wore the matching rings that she had designed for me just a week earlier. The rings sparkled brilliantly, but to me, the image looked like a cold blade, slowly twisting deeper into my heart. Just a week ago, we had discussed using these very rings during our wedding ceremony, exchanging vows in front of everyone. Now, those rings were on another man's hand. I had been in the entertainment industry for nearly 8 years, quietly waiting for Ta Win Nhi to achieve everything she had worked toward, so that we could finally step into marriage openly and without obstacles. I had never imagined that something like this would happen so close to our wedding day. I forced myself to suppress the burning sting at the corners of my eyes. my nails digging into my palms until they hurt. Just then, my phone vibrated. A message from my closest friend. Minh Viễn, what the hell is going on? Has your fiancée lost her mind? Did you see what she just posted? What is she even saying? You two were together last night, weren't you? And today she turns around and proposes to someone else? I let out a dry, bitter laugh. It's fine, I replied. I think she must have her reasons. My voice caught as I said it. Even I could no longer convince myself to defend Minh. I could not believe that what happened in the hotel was merely an academic discussion. Not long after that, the comment section on my own social media page exploded. Messages poured in relentlessly. Minh Viễn, what's going on? Isn't Dr. Ta Minh your fiancé? She had published countless books and held immense status in academic circles. Don't tell me I fabricated this relationship just to ride on her reputation. I was dragged into a complete mess that I had never caused. People who had disliked me for a long time immediately seized the opportunity to spread rumors and hurl sarcasm. I've said it before, so Minh Viễn is nothing but a pretty face. He relies on women to get famous. He'll be with anyone who can help his career go further. Dr. Ta has never publicly acknowledged him as her fiancé. Maybe the whole thing was something he made up himself. Actors should focus on acting. Why force your way into academia? Dr. Ta looks far more compatible standing next to her student. I wanted to fight back. But in the end I only let out a dry, hollow laugh. As if all the strength in my body had been drained. My gaze fell on the elegant wedding suit design that had been custom-made for me. I froze for a moment, then tore the paper into shreds. I couldn't believe that Ta Minh would betray me like this. Yet the truth struck like a painful slap across my face. She had always been a model lecturer, proud of her ethics and moral discipline. She once said she loved me more than anything and swore she would never meet male students alone. And now she was sharing a hotel room with one of them, claiming it was only to discuss academics. But the truth was, she had done exactly that. Suddenly, I realized I needed to know who that student was, the person Minh was willing to sacrifice her reputation to protect. I took a taxi to the hotel. At the front desk, I lied and said I had lost an expensive watch there. I discreetly slipped the staff member $500 and asked them to pull up the security footage from that night. My breath caught when Minh appeared on the screen. She walked into the hotel, her arm intimately linked with the male student beside her. I had met him before. His name was Mo Van Track. The last time we crossed paths was in Minh car. When I opened the door, the student sitting in the passenger seat stiffened instantly. I'm Dr. Ta's student, he blurted out in a hurry. Minh kept one hand on the steering wheel, her voice calm. He's a bit careless. He lost his thesis draft. His defense is coming up. So I took him to reprint a new copy. I glanced at Van Track. He really was holding a freshly printed stack of papers, still smelling of ink. I smiled and extended my hand. Hello, I'm So Minh Viễn. Dr. Ta and I aren't married yet. Van Track's eyes widened immediately. You're So Minh Viễn, that famous actor? Oh my god, can I get your autograph? He chatted enthusiastically with me the entire time that day. Back then, I genuinely thought he was just a student who admired his mentor. I never imagined he was playing two roles at once, one with me, and one with my fiancée. I sat in the security room, watching the footage. A sudden chill ran down my spine. It was the recording from the very night the rumors began spreading, the night Ta Minh and her student insisted they were only at the hotel for academic discussion. The delivery person knocked twice. Minh stepped out to open the door, wearing only a thin silk robe. From inside the room, I could clearly hear a young man's voice. Dr. Ta, I just finished showering. You can come in. Mo Van Track appeared, wearing a loose white shirt. Before the door even closed, he rushed forward and pulled Minh into his arms. They kissed fiercely right there in the doorway. On the screen, I saw a version of Ta Minh I had never known. Her eyes were filled with desire, raw, instinctive, unrestrained. Blood rushed straight to my head. My entire body trembled with uncontrollable rage. I suddenly remembered how she used to hold me tightly, lean close to my ear, and whisper, "Minh Viễn, you belong to me." Whenever she knew I had kissing scenes in my films, Minh would explode with jealousy. She would push me against the wall, her eyes blazing with possessiveness, and kiss me fiercely, passionate, intense, laced with anger. "Did that actress touch you?" "Of course not," I would laugh, trying to pry her hands away. But Minh would only hold me tighter. Her kisses burned like fire, consuming my breath. "Did she touch you here? Or here?" And yet, for the past 6 months, the intimacy between us had faded. She was angry because I had taken the lead role in a new romance film that included kissing scenes with a rising young actress. From that day on, Minh grew cold toward me for more than half a month. Recently, no matter how I tried to make time to see her, she always said she was busy. "My students' theses are terrible. I can't even read them. I have to rewrite everything." Every night, she locked herself in her study until late. Now that I thought about it, I wondered whether she was truly mentoring students, or simply using it as an excuse to continue that secret affair. The answer was known only to Minh. After leaving the hotel, I contacted one of her colleagues to get the student's contact information. Using an anonymous account, I sent Mo Van Track a friend request, pretending to be hotel customer service. I thanked him for using the service and said we would be sending a small gift. He replied almost immediately, "That's strange. That room wasn't booked under my ID. How did you get my contact information?" I replied quickly, "The data is stored in the hotel registration system. We can retrieve it." "Oh, I see." Right after that, I could view his entire profile. Everything was public. His latest post left me frozen. Everyone always says teacher-student love is impossible, but she dared to stand before the whole world and acknowledge it openly. I stared at the screen for a long time, the corner of my mouth curling into a bitter smile. I no longer had the strength to scroll down and read any further. I sat motionless in the dark house until all the daylight faded. Finally, the door opened. Ta Minh walked in, a faint trace of unfamiliar men's cologne clinging to her. "Minh Viễn, I love you," she said, wrapping her arms around me from behind. I gently pushed her hands away and frowned. "Aren't you going to explain what happened today?" Minh stiffened, a flicker of awkwardness crossing her face. I raised my phone. On the screen was still the post she had just made public. Her gaze immediately shifted away. She adjusted her glasses slightly and began speaking. "Minh Viễn, you have to understand, we're both in academia. We absolutely can't allow any scandals. Van Track is an exceptionally talented student whom I personally supervise. He's not like you, a public figure accustomed to gossip. He can't withstand this kind of pressure. I have no choice but to protect him." Every time she mentioned Van Track, her eyes softened. "He's not like you, Minh Viễn. He's just a simple kid who's never been exposed to the outside world. I can't let him be hurt by this kind of gossip." I watched her say all this with complete calm, even though she knew very well that last year, on my birthday, I had publicly announced our relationship online, and many sharp-eyed fans had quickly recognized her as the famous Dr. Ta. And now, her public clarification felt like a slap straight across my face. I clenched my fist and forced a painful smile. "Then what about me, Minh? Do you think it's normal for me to endure all this? Have you read what people are saying on my page? Do you know what they're calling me? They say I'm a gold digger, a parasite living off your fame, a piece of trash who fabricated everything to climb higher. Have you seen it all? That's enough, Minh Viễn." Minh took a deep breath, clearly restraining her irritation. "I know this makes you uncomfortable, but this really is the best solution. When everything settles down, our wedding will proceed as planned. I promise you." After saying that, she seemed to believe I would quietly accept it, just like I always had. Minh turned, picked up a towel, and walked straight into the bathroom. I watched her back disappear, my eyes turning cold and empty. A single thought echoed clearly in my mind: there would be no wedding. Win Nhi. I so Minh Viễn. Had loved you for 8 years. Even when the world mocked me. Even when my name was dragged through the mud. I never let go, not because you were perfect, but because I believed loyalty was the most precious thing in love. But now, I finally saw the truth. Ta Win Nhi. You had been rotten from the inside for a long time. You never deserved the sincere, wholehearted love I gave you. I wiped away my tears, picked up my phone, and dialed the number of the actress the media had once rumored to be involved with me, Fiancée. Last night's kissing scene felt very real, didn't it? Why don't we make it real? There was a few seconds of silence on the other end. Then Fiancée's voice rang out, full of excitement. Minh Viễn, you finally gave in? Her tone was shocked, mixed with radiant joy, as if she had just hit the jackpot. So should I come over? Or should you come to me? She laughed softly, her voice lazy and teasing. Or should we follow your fiancé's example and just rent a hotel room? Fine, the hotel, I replied coldly. Half an hour later, Fiancée's car stopped outside my house. Win Nhi behaved just like any other night. After showering, she quietly disappeared into her study. The moment the door closed, I opened the home surveillance app. On the screen, Win Nhi was on a video call with someone. The face that appeared on her phone screen was Mo Van Track. She smiled gently, her voice so soft it sent a chill straight down my spine. What's wrong? She said lightly. You've already touched every part of my body, haven't you? Now you have to take responsibility for me. Van Track, come here, she continued softly. Let me take a good look at you. I really miss your six-pack. I couldn't listen to another word. I immediately turned off the screen. Fiancée and I went to the hotel. It wasn't hard to notice that a few reporters were secretly tailing us, snapping photos non-stop. Seeing that, Fiancée frowned and was about to step out to stop them. I reached out and held her back. Don't bother, I said calmly. Let them take pictures. She looked at me in disbelief. Are you serious? Are you fighting with that professor fiancé of yours? You've always been terrified of getting photographed before. You were afraid she'd get angry. I simply curled my lips into a faint, hollow smile. It doesn't matter anymore. In the past, I had always put Ta Win Nhi's feelings first. Aside from mandatory promotional appearances required by investors, I avoided scandals and rumors at all costs, everything, just to give her peace of mind. But now, I didn't care anymore. Sure enough, early the next morning, news of Fiancée and me entering and leaving a hotel together flooded the front pages of major outlets. When Ta Win Nhi saw it, she nearly lost her mind. Furious, she stormed off to find me. Minh Viễn, are you doing this to get back at me? She shouted, her voice trembling with rage. You didn't have a shoot yesterday. You weren't even on set. So why were you checking into a hotel with that actress in the middle of the night? I lifted my head, my expression completely emotionless, raised an eyebrow, and replied coldly, we were just going over the script. Win Nhi looked at me as if she'd just heard the dumbest joke in the world. Then let out a cold laugh. Do you think I'm an idiot? She sneered. So Minh Viễn, renting a hotel room in the middle of the night just to read a script? You expect me to believe that? She stepped forward and reached for my shirt, trying to check whether there were any suspicious marks on my body. Win Nhi had always been like this, controlling, possessive, suspicious of every breath I took. For 8 years, even after I became an A-list actor, in her eyes I was still nothing more than an accessory in her life. I forcefully knocked her hand away, my gaze icy. Why wouldn't you believe it? I asked. A noble Dr. Ta Win Nhi like you can go to a hotel with a male student to discuss academics, but I'm not allowed to discuss a script with a colleague? Hearing the sarcasm in my voice, Win Nhi's face darkened instantly. You're deliberately provoking me, aren't you, Minh Viễn? She said through clenched teeth. I already told you, I only went to the hotel with Van Track to discuss his thesis. We work for knowledge, not for filthy thoughts like yours. Her eyes suddenly stopped at my neck, where faint marks were still clearly visible. Her expression froze completely. This is what you call reviewing lines? She demanded. Her voice was filled with fury. Looks like the two of you weren't just convincing on screen. You couldn't even wait in real life and had to rush straight to a hotel. Didn't you? I watched her face grow paler by the second, then let out a cold laugh. Didn't you say it yourself? I replied. We're not married. Everyone has the right to do whatever they want. I'm just doing exactly what you said. Win NHI. That was the answer she had thrown at me coldly that very night. When I asked why she hadn't come home. Now, I was simply returning it to her. Word for word. What's wrong? I asked. Win NHI. When you betrayed me, did you think I'd just smile and let it go? But when the roles are reversed, you lose your mind like this? Why the double standard? Watching her face turn deathly pale, a twisted sense of satisfaction rose in my chest. Deliberately, I tugged my collar lower, exposing more fresh kiss marks on my skin. You're right, I said calmly. I spent last night with another woman. She's younger than you, gentler than you, and knows how to care about someone. And honestly, I added cruelly, Mo Van Track must be pretty strange. A young man full of vitality like that. Why would he choose a woman past her prime like you? So Minh Viễn, shut up, Win NHI screamed. Her face drained of color, her fingers trembling violently. She raised her hand, about to slap me. I stood there, unmoving, staring straight at her with icy eyes, not dodging at all. We both knew that if that slap landed, our 8 years together would truly be over. You've got some nerve, Win NHI hissed, her voice shaking with each breath. Then she grabbed her coat, turned around, and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I wasn't worried. Just 10 minutes later, a new post appeared on Mo Van Track's social media account. That terrible man bullied Win NHI again. I'm so angry I'm going crazy. That disgusting old bastard keeps clinging to her and won't let go. Now her hand is even injured because of him. Below the text was a photo, Mo Van Track gently holding Win Yi's hand, carefully tending to a small scratch. His eyes were full of tenderness. I left a short, cold comment. Trash belongs with trash. You two are a perfect match. She won't have a fiancé much longer. Wishing you a lifetime of happiness. Almost immediately, Mo Van Track went berserk and replied. You damn fake customer service account. What the hell are you talking about? What do you know to butt in? I didn't bother replying. I silently deleted my comment and completely blocked his account. Before that day, I had never touched Ta Win Yi's phone or computer. But after that night, when I returned from the hotel, I checked everything. I needed to know it all. When had Ta Win NHI become so entangled and confused? When had her heart drifted away from me, pushing us to this miserable end? On her laptop, I found a folder titled True Love. Inside were over 1,000 photos, every single one of Mo Van Track. Candid shots, taken meticulously from every possible angle. You couldn't capture someone with that level of focus and tenderness unless it was love. If it wasn't love. I suddenly remembered our 8 years together. Every time we traveled, Win NHI would only take 1 or 2 photos of me before quickly growing impatient. She would laugh and say, "You're handsome anyway, every angle looks good, it doesn't matter how I take it." And so, all these years, I had never had a single photo of myself that I truly liked. Perhaps the difference between being loved and not being loved, or between loving deeply and loving superficially, was really that obvious. I remembered once when Win NHI talked about Van Track with a rare gentleness in her eyes. She said he was a pure, innocent boy, like freshly fallen snow, completely harmless. She once told me about a rainy day when Van Track threw away his umbrella and ran through the rain. His white canvas shoes splattered with mud. That image had moved her so deeply that she couldn't forget it. Win Nhi was nearly 30, rational, experienced, no longer the naive girl she once was. Yet she said that every time she looked at Van Track, she felt an instinctive urge to protect him, a woman's soft weakness in the face of youthful purity. Then she compared him to me. She said that every time she saw my polished, flawless face on screen, she couldn't help but wonder, which actress did you kiss today? Who touched you? I opened the liquor cabinet, the place where we had stored expensive bottles we once planned to save for our wedding banquet. I opened several bottles, drank them dry, then smashed the rest. Those bottles were supposed to be poured for friends and family on our big day. Now, there was no reason to keep them anymore. After I had completely destroyed the room, I picked up my phone and sent her a short message. The engagement is cancelled, don't ever see me again. That night, I packed my bags, left the house, and went to a hotel. The next morning, I took my ID documents and called Lam Saw. Together, we went straight to the city registry office and registered our marriage. The young actress, the one the media called the new goddess of the screen, was trembling with excitement. She stared at the marriage certificate again and again, as if afraid it might disappear like a dream. Almost immediately, she began planning the wedding, enthusiastically sending invitations throughout the entertainment industry. That same day, she posted on social media, "To my husband, may the rest of our lives be complete and happy together." Within minutes, the internet exploded. Oh my God, am I seeing this right? An A-list star like Minh Viễn married that young actress? This is unbelievable, they really got married? I never thought those two would end up together. My fans immediately struck back at those who had once criticized me. Look at the haters now. So Minh Viễn never needed to rely on Ta Win Nhi. Compared to a woman in her 30s like her, Lam Saw is obviously the better choice. Meanwhile, in the university office, Ta Win Nhi sat buried in stacks of thesis drafts, revising papers for her students. Van Track lounged on the sofa, scrolling through his phone. When he saw the news, his eyes widened in shock. "Dr. Ta, is it true that Minh Viễn broke up with you and married that young actress?" Win Nhi merely lifted her head, her tone indifferent, the corner of her lips curling into a faint, cold smile. "You believe that nonsense?" she said. "He's an actor. Acting is his job. It's probably just a PR stunt. Don't worry about it." She didn't believe it at all. Because deep down, Ta Win Nhi had always believed that after so many years of loving her obsessively, I would never truly dare to walk away. She even told Van Track about our relationship as if it were nothing, about how I had stayed by her hospital bed, taking care of her day after the car accident. But as she spoke, Van Track's expression darkened. Discomfort was written clearly in his eyes. "Did you forget what happened yesterday?" he said coldly. "Dr. Ta, whose fault is it that your hand still hurts? Minh Viễn betrayed you. He slept with another woman in a hotel. And you still want to marry him?" Van Track's eyes reddened with resentment. He grabbed Ta Win Nhi's arm tightly, his voice trembling. "You said you were tired of him. You said that when you're with me, you feel young again. You said I'm the one you love." Win Nhi fell silent for a moment. Then she turned her gaze to the photo of me sitting on her desk. "Van Track, you don't understand," she said quietly. "The adult world isn't as simple as you think. Maybe I don't love Minh Viễn anymore, but we were together for 8 years. She looked out the window, her eyes distant, tinged with nostalgia. How many 8-year stretches does a person have in a lifetime? And when Minh Viễn parents passed away, I promised them I would take care of him for the rest of his life. She knew I had been with someone else that night. But that isn't necessarily his fault," she continued calmly. "The entertainment industry is full of temptation and chaos. Once he's had enough, he'll come back, and we'll still get married." What Win Nhi failed to realize was that even Van Track could already see through her. "Dr. Ta," he said softly, sadness in his voice, "you really don't understand men at all. When someone is disappointed enough times, they leave. Maybe you should go see Minh Viễn and talk to him honestly. Win Nhi frowned slightly, clearly displeased by his words. She immediately changed the subject. Let's stop talking about him, she said. Van Track, have you finished revising your paper? Tonight I'll take you to a movie. And then we'll go eat together. That evening, Lam Sa and I were sitting in a movie theater. A romantic film was playing on the screen when, suddenly, amid the noise of the audience, I heard a familiar voice call my name. Minh Viễn. I stiffened and turned around. Ta Win Nhi was standing in the aisle, a large bucket of popcorn in her hands, staring at me in shock. Behind her, Mo Van Track stood frozen, equally stunned. Minh Viễn, what are you doing here? She asked hurriedly. You haven't come home these past few days. Where have you been? The popcorn slipped from her hands and spilled onto the floor. Win Nhi rushed toward me, reaching for my hand, but Lam Sa immediately stepped in front of me. Hey, lady, do you have any manners? She snapped. Dressed all proper and intellectual with glasses on. And you're grabbing a man in public? Only then did Win Nhi realize that the woman standing in front of her was the actress who had once been rumored to be my mistress. Her expression darkened instantly, her tone dripping with sarcasm. What right do you have to interfere? Minh Viễn is my boyfriend. Move. But then her gaze froze. She noticed that Lam Sa and I were wearing matching outfits, same style, same color, same design. Win Yi's face twisted with jealousy. Why are you wearing couple outfits with her? Over the past 8 years, I had suggested many times that Win Nhi and I wear matching clothes when we went out, just for a sense of closeness. Every time, she refused. With the same excuse. Minh Viễn, you're a public figure, you have to protect your image. If paparazzi get photos, your career will suffer. She repeated that reason so many times that I had long since given up on that small wish. But now, I had nothing to worry about. Lam Sa and I were legally married. The whole world knew it. I could do whatever I wanted without caring about anyone else's feelings. Seeing that I completely ignored her, Win Nhi softened her tone, feigning concern. Minh Viễn, are you tired of the entertainment industry? She asked. Or are you just trying to make this PR stunt with that actress louder? Come home, I can pretend nothing ever happened. I let out a cold laugh and cut her off. Dr. Ta, is your internet down? I said calmly, or were you too busy dating your precious student to check the top trending news? I raised my left hand, letting the theater lights reflect clearly off my wedding ring. I'm married. Husband and wife wearing matching outfits. What's wrong with that? And when you tell me to come home, I continued coolly, which home are you talking about? Don't tell me it's the apartment I used to live in with you. Sorry, my wife and I have our own home now. Even if we ever went back, which we won't, it would have nothing to do with you anymore. Win Nhi clenched her fists. Her eyes locked onto me. Feeling dozens of gazes in the theater turning toward her, she took a deep breath and forced herself to speak calmly. Minh Viễn, don't make a scene here. Everyone's watching. You think I'll believe what you're saying? She scoffed. Every time we fight, you threaten to break off the engagement. When are you ever serious? She laughed mockingly. Have you heard the story of the boy who cried wolf? After too many times, no one believes him anymore. You're the same. Her eyes swept over me with contempt. As if she still believed that all it would take was a few words and I'd obediently go back. And besides, she added coldly, a man like you, filming with different actresses every day. Your reputation already smeared everywhere. Who else would marry you besides me? You really think that young actress is reliable? She only likes your looks. You're just temporary entertainment to her. Once she's bored, she'll find a man her own age and marry him. Before Win Nhi could finish her sentence, Lam Sa, who had never been one to hold back, slapped her hard across the face. You shameless old woman, Lam Sa snapped. You've got some nerve, meddling in my husband's business. I chased Minh Viễn for years. Now I have him. Stay away from us. Win Nhi stood there in shock. Her glasses flew off her face, fell to the floor, and were crushed underfoot by the surrounding crowd. For someone as severely nearsighted as her, losing her glasses was practically the same as going blind. My glasses, she cried, panicking as she crouched down and groped blindly through the crowd. But Lam Sa wasn't done. She continued striking, her movements fast and fierce, like a sudden storm. Mo Van Track screamed in panic. Stop hitting her, Miss Lam, I believe you now, I believe you're really married. This is my fault, I should have stopped her. Please spare Dr. Ta, and so Minh Viễn is a public figure, if someone records this. It'll definitely make the front pages tomorrow. I looked at Mo Van Track, the corner of my lips curling into a faint, cold smile. As expected, beneath that innocent exterior was a sharp, calculating mind. No wonder he stood out among all the students and so quickly made Ta Win Nhi fall for him. All right, sweetheart, I said calmly but decisively. Hearing that, Lam Sa immediately stopped. She stepped back and leaned into me obediently, like a well-behaved kitten. I smiled slightly and deliberately spoke loudly enough for Mo Van Track to hear. Van Track, remember this, I'm letting her go today, for your sake. From now on, keep your woman in check. If she dares bark at me one more time, I'll make sure she never opens her mouth again. That movie night was completely ruined. Just being in the same space as Ta Win Nhi made the air feel heavy, filthy, suffocating. So Lam Sa and I left the theater and went to a private screening room owned by a friend. While waiting for the movie to start, I looked down at her hand. You hit her too hard, I said softly, taking Lam Sa's hand. Does it hurt? Her palm was red from the slap earlier. She just smiled, her eyes full of affection. When our gazes met, she giggled. Having a husband already, it feels amazing. I shot her a look and said lightly, be serious. Lam Sa immediately wrapped both arms around mine, acting spoiled like a child. I am serious, she said softly. Minh Viễn, you have no idea how long I've waited for this moment. I gently pushed her away to steady myself. Suddenly, a memory surfaced from 3 years ago, the day Lam Sa first joined my film crew. She had the looks and the talent, yet she was always cast in insignificant extra roles in my projects. 3 years passed, and she still hadn't gained any real recognition. That had always struck me as strange. You waited for me for 3 years? I asked. She shook her head, her expression turning solemn. That's wrong, Lam Sa said slowly, clearly, it was 1.195 days. She smiled, her eyes sparkling with memories. I still remember the very first day we met. She told me she first saw me while I was filming a combat scene in the desert. Wearing heavy armor, repeating the same shot over and over for hours. It was precisely that persistence and determination that had stunned her. Lam Sa had even made a bet with her friend, insisting that a man with willpower like Minh Viễn was destined to become a major star, that one day he would dominate the screen. A name known by everyone. And in the end, she won the bet. Her gaze softened as she looked at me, then handed me a peeled orange segment. That was when I knew I was already completely taken by you. She said quietly, that's why I kept finding ways to work by your side. Suddenly, I recalled all those kissing scenes we'd filmed. Every time I felt the take was good enough and wanted to move on, Lam Sa would always find an excuse, claiming she hadn't fully gotten into character, and ask to shoot it again. Thinking back now, that girl really was clever. I laughed and lightly flicked her forehead. You little fox, I said. Back then I even wondered why the kissing scenes had to be reshot over and over. So you were deliberately taking advantage of me, huh? Lam Sa giggled, her eyes sparkling with playful cunning. So what? She said shamelessly. I even had people in the industry dig into your background. I knew you already had a fiancée. If I didn't use a few tricks, how would you ever be willing to break up with her? How would I get the chance to be with you? Luckily, all my effort paid off in the end. As for Ta Win Nhi, the woman who failed to cherish him and lost him like this was simply her karma. I only smiled faintly and said nothing more. I used to think that breaking up with someone I'd been with for 8 years would leave me in agony, drowning in regret and pain. But looking back now, I realized I had placed far too much weight on my own emotions. Especially after watching the hotel surveillance footage again, seeing Ta Win Yi's true face as she embraced her student, there was nothing left to regret. Witnessing that betrayal, all I felt was relief. Relief that I had discovered it early enough. That I had escaped a toxic woman before everything became irreversibly ruined. A few days later, Win Nhi kept calling me. Her tone remained as arrogant as ever. Minh Viễn, I know I spoke out of line that day. I admit I was wrong. Isn't that enough? But do you really think you're innocent? She continued. You had someone else too. Your entire career thrives on scandals. What right do you have to blame me? Fine, I won't argue anymore. Come home. Let's pretend nothing ever happened. I let out a cold laugh and blocked her number immediately. For all those years, she had grown used to relying on her title as a doctor, looking down on everyone else. But that didn't mean anyone was obligated to endure her forever. Just a few days later, the video of the altercation at the movie theater suddenly went viral. Every frame was crystal clear, capturing the entire confrontation between me, Lam Sa, Ta Win Nhi, and Mo Van Trak. The comment section exploded instantly. So this was real after all. So Ta Win Nhi was So Minh Viễn former fiancée. And the engagement was cancelled because she cheated with a student? This A-list actor is brutal, caught getting cheated on and immediately dumped her and married someone new. Exactly like the roles he plays in movies. As I read those comments, my eyes paused on another one. But did anyone notice? That girl Lam Sa struck first. Isn't that a bit violent? Can she really be considered a good person? I was just about to type a reply when a flood of new comments poured in. Are you blind? Didn't you see Ta Win Nhi deliberately provoking her first? Lam Sa was protecting her husband, that's what makes her amazing. The way she looks at So Minh Viễn is so gentle, like a little kitten. Seriously, can someone tell me how to find a kitten-type girlfriend like that? I want my own Lam Sa too. Under the video, netizens continued debating non-stop. A new wave of attention began swirling around the name So Minh Viễn and his young wife. People sighed with envy, leaving countless admiring comments. So Minh Viễn is truly a winner in life, successful career, beautiful wife, straight-up dream life. But when Ta Win Nhi saw those words, she nearly went insane. She kept calling me repeatedly, threatening me over and over, demanding I take the video down. I blocked every channel of contact. When she couldn't reach me, she came directly to the park where I often went for walks. She appeared gaunt and exhausted, dark circles under her eyes as if she hadn't slept for days. Minh Viễn, how can you be so cruel to me? She cried as she approached, her voice trembling yet still laced with menace. Are you trying to destroy me? Take that video down immediately, she demanded. Otherwise, I'll make you pay. I coldly shoved her aside, my eyes tinged with mockery. I'll be waiting, I said. Then I turned and walked away. Behind me came a hoarse, strangled scream, pitiful, like the whimper of a lost dog. A few days later, I learned that the scandal between Ta Win Nhi and Mo Van Trak had spread so fast that the university administration was forced to intervene. That school had strict rules. Romantic relationships between lecturers and students were absolutely forbidden. There were only two possible outcomes. Either Mo Van Trak would be expelled, or Win Nhi would lose her position. In the chaos, Win Nhi didn't hesitate at all. She immediately chose to protect her career. You're truly selfish, Mo Van Trak shouted, his voice filled with rage. You said you'd stand by me no matter what happened. And now, At the first sign of trouble, you sacrifice me to keep your teaching position. Do you have any sense of shame at all? Are you even a woman? She looked at him coldly, her eyes as icy as frost. Van Track, don't forget, you were the one who pursued me first. Getting expelled isn't that serious. As long as I stay at the university, I can help you transfer somewhere else. But if I lose my job, she continued calmly, I won't even be able to survive. How could I talk about love then? At that moment, tears streamed down Mo Van Track's face. He finally saw the true face of the woman he had once idolized. So you're this disgusting, he said hoarsely. I must have been blind to fall in love with you. With that, he turned and ran, wiping away his tears as he went. The next day, the university officially issued an expulsion notice for Mo Van Track. As for Ta Win Nhi, unable to accept defeat, she turned her hatred toward me. She uploaded a series of my private photos and videos online, attaching a sensational headline. Uncensored intimate footage of A-list star So Minh Viễn, download before it's gone. The images spread across platforms at a terrifying speed. But less than 10 minutes later, everything vanished from the internet. Before she could even understand what was happening, Lam Sa had already taken action. You dared to touch my husband, she said coldly, then I'll crush both your reputation and your career into dust. It was only after we got married that I learned Lam Sa was far from the insignificant actress I had once thought she was. She was the daughter of the largest investor in the film I was currently starring in. With just a single word from her, the image of Ta Win Nhi as a model lecturer collapsed completely. In just one day, Win Nhi lost everything, her reputation, her job, her standing. In desperation, she came to find me again, tears filling her eyes. Minh Viễn, I know I was wrong. She sobbed. You know how much I love you. Don't you? Please, just give me one more chance. That B-list actress, what does she have over me? Other than her face and body. What's worth keeping? Who knows how many people she's slept with in the industry just to cling to you? I didn't bother responding. I only glanced at her coldly and said flatly, move aside, if you know what's good for you. Don't block my way. Win Nhi's face darkened. She stood there trembling, unable to say a single word. I walked straight past her without looking back. I sent her photo to the security team and the production crew. If this woman appears here again, don't ask questions, throw her out immediately. My new film was about to premiere, with Lam Sa handling all the publicity behind the scenes. The movie shot to #1 nationwide within a week. Awards, praise, and endorsement deals flooded in non-stop. As for Ta Win Nhi, in her downward spiral, she knelt before me more than once, begging for forgiveness. But I never looked back. Because in this world, there is no medicine that can cure regret. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.